All right.
Alrighty, here we are.
We could be live.
All right.
This is our second effort at trying to be live here. This is the Jimmy Doane Show.
That's right. Today's June 3rd, 2018. Jimmy Doane here with Counselor Curtis.
Counselor Curtis, that's me.
And the issues of the day.
That's right. This show brought to you by sponsor who is American Steel.
American Steel, that's right.
Steel made in America is stronger and steelier than other steel.
I guess. They've had a meeting in China on this, and China's threatening to do trade war business. So we'll see.
Wait, well, it's on with Canada right now.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So we're here.
Yeah, we're here. This is great. All right, well, we've got a couple of things to talk about. I haven't finished yet, but lately I've been binging on Netscape or Netflix. Netflix on Doc Martin.
Oh yeah.
It's like
that's a pretty good show.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's good. Second time I've gone through it, but
binging is a fabulous invention.
I'm telling you,
I love binging.
I mean, you just go straight. And the beauty of it is, when one episode ends, the next one starts automatically in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So you
don't even have to do anything.
Don't do anything.
No, it's about time too.
Yeah.
Because, and I tell you, it's even boring to watch regular shows. Like there's another show, it's coming out once a week or something. It's hard to watch.
No, you wait.
You gotta let them build up a few and
let them build up.
Watch them in a row.
Well, over at Mrs.
Half hour.
At Mrs. Jimmy's house, she records Big Bang and then Young Sheldon.
Mm-hmm.
So we watch those,
back
to back. Yeah, so that's always good. Okay, anyway, so several things that are interesting. The police state once again.
This is June 3rd, 2018.
Yeah, June 3rd, 2018, right? And it's a Georgia couple, and this is something that you should know about.
Yes, I saw this.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
So this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
This is the Georgia couple had their son taken by the state after providing him marijuana to help control the seizures. And what happened is their 15-year-old son David had seizures, sometimes as many as a dozen a day.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went and got some marijuana from someplace, mail order or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that smoking marijuana helped David stop having seizures for 71 straight days.
Mm-hmm.
Then somebody ratted him out.
Right.
And the CPS, Child Protective Services.
Yeah,
whatever. Yeah, Division of Family and Children's Services. They put them in jail for 6 days.
Right.
And then
the parents.
And then they after the drug test came back positive, they came and took the kid away, the 15-year-old. Nobody knows. I'm not sure that they know where he is. Gone. Yeah, that's right.
He's with the other border kids.
You're right. Anyway, what's interesting about this, of course, is you've had experience with the Child Protective Services, which is like a criminal organization.
Well, they're zealous, and look, this comes down to a couple different things. One, like we talked about on the border, Child Protective Services does take people's kids away, and they do take people's kids away who don't deserve to have their kids taken away.
Right.
And that's part and parcel to the system. That's just, it messes up. I think it's overly empowered. And people will see that right now on the border. People look down and say, oh my God, we're taking kids. Well, we do that all the time, every day across the United States, in states everywhere. So not a big difference in how we're treating people, but it's lame. And what's really sucky about this, I believe that the kid could have had a derivative of the marijuana plant would have been legal for him to ingest.
Yeah.
But what they've done is, in order to confer a monopoly on the new, big grass or whatever you want to call it, they limit the production and the distribution, the manufacture and the distribution to a very limited structure. This is the heavy regulation that you hear about, in order for them to provide measures of purity of the product. So the problem with the flower itself is you don't know what you're getting. It could be any level of toxicity. So that's a problem for the government because they don't want to endorse a varied level of toxicity. So a lot of governments, including Florida, Georgia, have banned the actual flower. And so you have to get a tincture or an oil or something from one of a very few distributors and manufacturers. Usually it's a seed to distribution type of monopoly, an integrated vertical monopoly. And so the problem with that is when you have a vertical monopoly or any kind of monopoly, the price is ridiculously high. So these people had to turn to the black market to get their medicine. And it's a damn shame on so many levels. I mean, one, that they had to do that, that there's still no right to ingestion until Trump signs this right to try law that might work. And then two, that CPS, Child Protective Services, would deem this to be a problem worth breaking up the family to save it.
Yeah.
And that's what they're going to do. But yeah, that's what happens. And so, watch your kids. And if you're going to change your kid's medication from something official, be wary, be warned. It's bad.
Well, what's interesting is this: if there ever was a beta test of the success of this stuff, 71 days without a seizure were coming up from.
We're talking about 29 states have decriminalized marijuana at this point.
Okay.
Almost 3/5. It doesn't. The wave is going. It's going to happen.
Right.
People are going to have to get out of the way eventually. But you still have some of these states with this vertical monopolies going on.
Well, that was the thing with Georgia. They said that they do have an exception for medical marijuana, but apparently it takes like a year to get cleared.
Yeah, 6 years, she said, the waiting list was something ridiculous. I mean, if you think about it, it's just so impractical. It makes it impossible. I mean, what, the kid's supposed to suffer with seizures for 6 years?
Right.
I mean, what? Because he's waiting for somebody to check a box on a form or something? I mean, what the? It's ridiculous. No, he's not going to do that at all. He's going to go to Colorado or some other state where they don't care,
that's what they're
or they do
about.
Care, I should say.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah. Well, that's what they said. Of course, they hired a lawyer. They did a GoFundMe page to hire a lawyer to get their kid back, and then they're going to move.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Well, the other thing that I thought was interesting was another. Let's see. You were talking about the Try Me law.
Right. The right to try.
Right to try, which I cannot quite understand this, but the deal is that what the law says apparently is that if you are terminally ill, no chance that you get to try, unbeknownst to the FDA, or not with that FDA clearance, but you get to try experimental drugs.
Yeah.
But of course you're terminal. I mean, that's.
Yeah, but the thing is as we talked about on the last show, the terminal is broadly interpreted.
Oh, that's
to
right.
mean anything terminal, which could be
life.
Anything which, and which could be anything which leads to suicide.
Yeah.
Which raises a whole host of potential ailments that could be treated with literally anything.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know that I remember when Steve McQueen had cancer, he went to Mexico for peach pits or something like that, or whatever it was.
Hell yeah.
Alternate. It didn't work for him. Anyway, that was so the Try Me thing is kind of interesting. Well, the next thing that I had is this. It didn't take long before somebody called the kids for selling lemonade. This is another selling lemonade.
Again?
Again. Wait a minute. You ready for this?
Oh, God.
They were having a good time on Memorial Day until somebody called the cops on children selling lemonade to neighbors across the street from a park in Denver.
Uh-huh.
Now, this is great. The Denver police wasted no time in shutting down the lemonade stand for operating without a permit.
That's right.
And
you go over there with your
kids
stick,
were four and 6 years old.
Bash up their little lemonade stand. Well,
4 and 6 years old. Of course, the cops come by, scared the crap out of them, and she said that she
drag the stand out into the road and just mow it down with the cruiser.
Yeah, that's right. So anyway, obviously the 4-year-old, was crying and everything, and the mother of the two boys later learned that there's no law or policy to stop kids that need a license. There's no.
There's a municipal code usually, is what.
Yeah, well, whatever it is. Anyway, she did some research, and according to her,
right,
that should have been just fine. Mm-hmm. And she, of course, had encouraged the kids, 4 and 6 years old, set up the lemonade stand.
Of course, you encouraged.
Memorial Day, across the street from a park.
I thought there was like a lemonade exception,
well,
Supreme
Denver,
Court ruling or something.
Obviously. And so she wanted.
Did we get the Supreme Court in on this?
Yeah, right. Well, what's interesting is, as she said, what the lesson that the boys learned was not to trust the police.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly the lesson.
That's exactly the lesson. And I mean, the police don't see that. I mean, can you imagine?
It's not that it's not that the police don't see it. It's that the city leaders don't see it.
Well, that's true too.
If the city leaders weren't so petty about the laws, then there would be no need. But I mean, you're right. At some level, the cop does have to exercise a little discretion there. And sorry, ma'am, we're not going out on that call.
Yeah.
We got a cat in a tree down the road. We got to get to that first. We'll be right over to the lemonade stand.
Yeah. No, you're right. They should issue, and then when they just go strictly by the book and close the damn thing down, you kind of wonder
I
what.
Can't even imagine that they would do that this day with social media. I mean, you figure that this is the 6-year-old's claim to fame here. She records the cops busting them. Here's the insider O'Keefe report from the 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's amazing. So anyway, they once again the overstepping. You just sit there and think. So now we go and we learn some more about cops, and this has to do, believe it or not, with something that came up, and that was the training session for the baristas.
Right.
Where they closed down 1,800 stores or whatever it was for 3 hours.
Hell yeah.
And
they said that Starbucks has become the world's biggest public bathroom.
Public bathroom. That's right. The world's biggest. And but I mean, they interviewed some of the people as they came out of this training session, and they said, "This is what a waste of time.
We have learned so much."
Yeah, we have learned so much. No, they said,
have changed. We have changed. My eyes are woke.
Yeah.
We are now woke.
Yeah, right. Well, they said instead of addressing racial tension head on, the training mostly beat around the bush, says somebody.
Well, how can
can't imagine. 24-year-old Latino man.
What are they supposed to say?
Well, what they did, apparently, they showed videos.
This is a black person. This is a... And now...
They showed videos.
We will show inappropriate behavior.
That's right. And they showed videos of white people beating up black people. I mean, and one, as they said, one girl just walked out. She said, "I can't take this. This is crazy. I'm not going to sit for this." And they said basically it was a racial thing, and
they get the toothpicks in the eyes.
Yeah, right. Well, like in what was that in
Clockwork Orange?
Clockwork Orange. Well,
That's
also
right.
it was in a movie called Next, with one of my favorite movies with Nicolas Cage.
Okay.
And he could see 15 seconds into the future, or 2.5 minutes. Okay. So anyway, they said that they walked out because there was so much violence. The training focused a lot on police brutality, which had nothing to do with the incident that happened. Focus on police brutality was upsetting. The videos showed cops knocking down people and fighting people who were really disturbing, Pina explained. And just watching the videos, about police brutality had to do with the situation that happened. Mm-hmm. They went too deep into it and missed the whole point at the same time. So here was, stores closed for 3 hours or whatever it was, the whole day or something, and then this, and who came up with the plan?
Look, this is all for legal purposes. Okay, this is literally, every bit of this is just so that if they get sued in the future, they can parade a bunch of managers in there to talk about this sensitivity training and what they did. I mean, it's not us. Starbucks, look, we train our people about this. That's all this is.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
It's a little show.
I hadn't thought about that. Well, anyway.
You don't think they're actually trying to
No.
influence their people.
Yeah, no.
I mean, look, they know when they hired the people. I mean, there's probably something in the application process that would identify you as being a racist. You know, some kind of questionnaire or something.
Trick question.
Yeah, something. I mean, or if not, if this Philadelphia where this one incident happened, I mean, you don't think that they encounter black people on a daily basis?
Right.
I mean, there's no chance.
Yeah,
so
right.
If the people were racist there, they would be identified quickly and fired quickly.
Speaking of which,
okay,
we talked about the Roseanne thing.
Yes.
And there have been some more people that have come out on this.
Samantha Bee.
Yes, Samantha Bee. And of course, her tweet.
Uh-huh.
Calling.
Well, it wasn't a tweet. That's part of the show.
Oh, that's right. That was part of the show. It's a late, and of course they excused her because she's a comedian.
Right.
And this was, a joke.
Right.
And so they called. And they had the picture.
Uh-huh.
The picture of the Trump's little girl, daughter, with the baby on her thing. Yeah. And Samantha Bee says she's a feckless cunt.
Right.
For for something, because she how can you do this when when they're ripping kids away? How can you take a picture like this when there are kids being ripped away from their parents on the border?
That's right. You can't have a family if everybody can't have a family.
You need to go talk to your father.
Right. Yeah.
That was the other thing. You need to go talk to your father.
In tight clothing, she said.
Yeah.
But look, so what? Okay, so this is words. I am flabbergasted that adults are paying so much attention to these name calling. It's like I want to. I keep waiting for the little paper to surface where somebody has rated all the different curse words from 0 to 100 in terms of bad to good. You know, obviously, the N word is 100 in terms of bad, and the C word is somewhere down in the 75. Well, right. Well, and they say racist is bad, but if you say like honky or cracker or something, those are like down in the 30. That's like butthead or something. I mean,
right.
That's that's
nothing. Nobody cares.
Right. So, but it's words.
Well, not only that, they were saying that the word has just in the last couple of years the word has come into general use.
Right. Well, it certainly has come into general use in the comedy circuit.
Oh, well, Jim Jeffries is one. I mean.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he is nonstop.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw his
stand up or whatever.
On that, I was like, holy crap!
Yeah,
this guy is taking no prisoners.
No, he is,
and
he said he's brought the word.
Yeah,
he's the first one. Now everybody uses it.
And and it's true.
It's absolutely true.
But look, at the end of the day, it's all
he calls
words.
Men cunts.
Right. Well, yeah, everybody does. I mean, like I said, these days it's come back into general use. But at the end of the day, this is words. We live in a sticks and stones society.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't throw water on Tommy Lahren, but you can call her a cunt if you want to. Okay. Right. That's okay. And even if you're on TV, because I mean, from my perspective, you could get fired, but you could not. Like Samantha Bee is not going to get fired, obviously, and it's because her people don't care.
No, she's a screaming progressive liberal.
Sure,
and so she can do she can do whatever she wants.
Right, and from my perspective, they shouldn't have cared about the Roseanne thing either, especially because it was a tweet as opposed to being on the show.
Right.
But even so, I mean, words, sticks and stones. Everybody, suck it up, get over it.
Well, of course, the big news is, of course, what are the advertisers going to do?
Well, right. That's why I said we hope it's all business decisions. Business that you can't.
Well, that's what they seem to think about Roseanne, was that maybe some of the advertisers are calling up and saying, "Look, we're not going to go with her."
Yeah.
But
I doubt that.
I doubt it too, because there's always somebody ready to step in.
That's right.
You got to be kidding me. And not only that, there's no question that she's going to move to another network or something along those lines.
It looks that way.
It looks that way. Now she apparently has a history, of doing. Kind of being off kilter a little bit.
That's her whole shtick, was being the tough girl. I mean, this is the woman who botched the national anthem on purpose, sort of, scratching her C word. I mean, she's a brash woman. You shouldn't. This is like Michelle Fox doing the correspondence dinner.
Yeah.
If you that wasn't what you were expecting, you don't know who she is.
Right. Well, that's true. Well, the other thing is I have noticed some more people coming, as I did last week, earlier at any rate, coming to Roseanne's defense and saying, "Look, this is not racist. It just wasn't."
Well, I think
because it just the tweet doesn't make any sense.
Well, look, okay, and I mean we're parsing it down here. I think it's pretty well accepted in the vernacular if you refer to a black person as some sort of primate, that's racism. Okay. Now, Roseanne claims she didn't know Valerie Jarrett was black.
Well, she's not black. She's tannish.
I mean, to me, I thought she was Italian.
Yeah.
And
she's
Middle Eastern.
She's Iranian or something.
Right, but. So I'm with you. I mean, I don't think I'm not coming down on Roseanne. I mean, she's a comedian. I can't believe that. I mean, you look at the diversity in her cast. You think? What do you think?
Right.
You really think she's a racist? Come on, man.
Yeah.
No. She made a bad tweet. She made a crappy joke in the middle of the night, like you said. Sleep deprived, whatever it was. And I'm going to go ahead and believe her that she didn't know about Valerie.
Believe her.
So.
And I'll tell you,
it's a non-issue.
It was Joe Rogan that said he believed her too.
Right.
He sent on. He came to her defense.
Right. Well, he knows her a little better.
He knows her a little better. And said, "Look, this is not who she is."
Right.
Blah blah blah. Whatever it is, and
look, we would.
And I called her up, and she told me the story, and I absolutely believe her.
Right.
Ambien. Dysfunctional, blah blah, whatever.
Now I'm gonna say we would have seen it before if she was that racist. Now they did have that one other incident or whatever where she tweeted out something about Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah.
But again, it was an ape reference thing. It was ape balls or something. That one didn't make any sense to me.
No.
And it certainly didn't seem racist. I mean, that one didn't. But whatever. Everybody gets to decide what they want to, but.
Well, as I say, unfortunately, 100 people lost their jobs.
Yeah, that's the crappy thing.
And I know that they interviewed Tom Arnold, her ex-husband, and he said, he would expect something like that to come from her or something along those lines.
Well, yeah, that's her ex-husband. What are you?
Right. What are you going to say? So anyway, also now Joy Reid. Joy Reid, I remember the only time I remember her was when she was on with Bill Maher on some kind of a panel discussion before the election. This must have been like a year before the election. And Bill Maher turns to Ann Coulter and says, "Well, now of the people that are running, who do you think is going to be president?" And she said, "Well, of the people that are running now, Donald Trump." They went over to Joy Reid and she goes,
"Yeah."
I mean, she said, "Are you nuts?"
Yeah.
And
well, everybody said that.
Yeah, I know they did, but I mean, but Ann Coulter was dead on, and of course so was.
I didn't even think Trump was going to officially run.
He certainly did.
I mean, 6 months before, I was like, any minute now he's going to drop out.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's done before.
Well, it's funny because when you need to go back and see some Scott Adams Periscope stuff, which is, I guess, is up there someplace or another. You can find it, where he talks about Trump's persuasion capabilities.
Yeah.
And he says, this is classic. He says that he's the best you've
got. He may be. I didn't even think he wanted it though. I mean, why would you? Why if you had $1 billion and maybe he'd done everything else he wanted to do.
I think that's probably part of it. I can tell you this much, that he'd actually been giving it some thought for decades.
Well, like I said, he had tested the waters sort of before.
He was on Oprah, for God's sakes,
right.
20 years ago, saying, I could go for president. And
he was actually in sort of the contention of a little bit of the race 4 years before.
Right.
But
and he was on The Simpsons.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, Joy Reid issued an apology. Said that she'd been said that all these tweets that showed up, they were before she became famous, but they were pretty bad. And but they showed up, and she apologized. They were done like a decade ago, and so she apologized and everything for them. But people were trying to scream for her neck.
Yeah.
But she's a progressive, so you get to go. You get to not. You get off. You get away.
Double standard.
Hypocrisy. The whole deal. Okay, so
who cares?
Yeah. Okay, the next. Let's see. The next item. Let me just see here. Okay, the next item I've got here is June 12th, less than 2 weeks away. The summit.
Oh.
The summit is on again.
Yeah. Okay.
We talked about this on Wednesday. It was on again, off again, on again, but now apparently it's on again.
Right.
And so they're going to meet over in Singapore. And they had a picture of the hotel where they're going to be staying, which is going to be kind of interesting.
Like a Motel 6 or something?
Not quite. It's Motel 1000 or something. So
you're going to stay in a Japanese hotel, honeycomb hotel?
Yeah, no, probably not. Yeah, right. We open up the little coffin and get in there to sleep. No, that's apparently they're going to. But where are they going to put everybody? I wonder. When he goes over there, he's going to have to take
Singapore. They can do conferences in Singapore.
Well, I know, but I mean, there's all the security and everything like that. They're going to worry about, I guess. But I wouldn't be. I don't think people worry too much about Singapore.
Yeah.
So anyway,
No gum chewing in Singapore.
Yeah, right. Or how about the guy that he did the gum?
20
chew?
lashes or something.
Yeah, he scratched
Vandalism.
a car.
Yeah.
And 20 lashes or whatever. Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so that they're going to start. That'll be interesting. And as he said, this is the start of a process. We expect there'll be more meetings and blah blah blah. And of course now of course China's get all upset because he's also announced, $6 billion or some number, 60 billion or whatever of measures. What do you call it? The tariffs on some Chinese goods, which of course unfortunately are going to hurt some American manufacturers who count on that stuff, some specialty stuff from China, and they could be in big trouble. So
yeah, what is up with him in the tariff situation? He just put another $12 billion on Canada and the Europeans. And Mexico and the Europeans, and Canada retaliated with an exactly comparable countermeasure, so to speak. I mean, calculated to exactly compensate for the $12.2 billion or whatever based on similar goods. Right. So I mean, what we get two countries here or a bunch of countries raising all their tariffs, and it's just like tax raises across the board. Basically.
Yeah, it is. I mean, everybody's going to have to pay for it in the goods that they purchase now. And
I thought it was funny that everybody comes down on Trump for raising these tariffs, and they're all backing Trudeau and saying how poor Trudeau because he's our trade partner and Trump has done this evil thing, and then he does his own retaliatory ones, and his reasoning is to protect Canadian interests.
Right.
Well, if that protects Canadian interests, then wasn't Trump just protecting American interests?
Right.
I mean, that's so again, we're in this tit for tat thing where it's like, I don't like what you did, so I'm going to do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, right. Well, tariffs, of course, as I say, are just by any stretch of the imagination, unless you're strict Keynesian, are worthless because they're it's kind of like they're an act of war in a way when you start to restrict.
Well, it's just a tax.
It's just a tax. Well, of course, this is the other thing. You cut taxes in the budget and run the with the Trump
deficit.
budget, and then you run the deficit up, which is going to have to be paid for, and then you put taxes and you do the tariffs, which are of course are another tax. So what have you gained here? I don't know. When you think that the country for a long time the government was supported on tariffs,
right?
And
that's when it was really tiny. That's all they needed.
Right. That's exactly right. When the government was really tiny, that was all they needed. And but of course it got out of hand. People started begging for protection. And
and the problem is when the government chooses among the tariffs which are going to be the winners and losers.
Right.
And what they're really doing is choosing which companies or industries are going to rise or fall, versus a blanket sort of flat tax tariff on imports or exports or something like that. They could theoretically do if taxes were a good thing.
Well, we always I worship my great grandfather who was on the Supreme Court, and Justice Sutherland, and he was from Utah. But Utah at the time was coal country and railroad country. So needless to say, he had some, when he was in the Senate, he went along those lines. That they were his special interests.
Yeah, he was a very progressive congressperson.
In that regard, he was. Yeah. But then when he got on the Supreme Court, he really became very. How can you put this? I mean, he was one of the four horsemen. Him and his buddies voted down a lot of Roosevelt stuff. So anyway, all right. Then let's see. There was maybe one more thing here. Oh, Denmark has become the latest European country to ban full face coverings.
Okay.
I.e. burqas and whatever the other ones are.
Ninja masks.
Yeah, ninja masks. And also false beards.
Guy Fawkes masks.
Yeah, Guy Fawkes masks, right. And so full face, and the fine is like $150 or more.
Okay.
For first offense, and can go up into the thousands. So the legislation was also backed by the Social Democrats and the far-right Danish People's Party, so two ends of the thing. Wearing a burqa, which covers the fire, or the niqab, or whatever it is, which shows only the eyes in public, will lead to a fine of 1,000 kroner, which is $156. A ban also targets other accessories that hide the face, such as, I don't know what a balaclava is, and false beards. Repeated violations will be fined up to 10,000 kroner. So, they don't know exactly how many people wear burqas or whatever in Denmark, but this is kind of interesting in a way, it seems to me. The civil rights people, of course, are all over this. They're claiming that this is against your rights to do this. This is they really the Danish equivalent of the whoever our social the ACLU or whatever it is,
right?
Saying that this is really going.
And their claim is because it disproportionately affects Muslims.
Yeah.
So, my response to that is every law affects every group disproportionately. No matter what law it is. You could pass a driving law, and if certain groups drive more than other groups, then it's going to disproportionately affect that group.
Right.
Okay, so Muslims disproportionately wear headscarves relative to other religions. So they're going to be disproportionately affected by this law. I gotta say, it's not meant as an attack on them. It's meant as some kind of, I would say, overzealous security measure.
Right. It's a safety feature.
That's right. That's right. But we have
public
rules.
Safety.
We actually have laws in this country about wearing masks.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, you can't go into banks anymore.
Stuff like that. Yeah. In public buildings. You can't. You put on your Roy Rogers mask and try to walk into the courthouse.
Yeah. Well, they have gone over the deep end too. I'll never forget when I went down to
prejudice against cowboys.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they also in the courthouse, you get a little knife like that, you have to confiscate.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I mean if it's more than 1.5 inches or something.
Oh, any knife, anything.
Well, I had one on my keychain that they said, you've got to take that off.
Oh yeah.
And so it was.
They've taken mine several times.
Yeah, and what do you think I'm going to do, for God's sakes? I mean,
it's ridiculous. I know. I've looked at the order a bunch of times, and what happened was they speculated that somebody would wear one of those belt buckle knives into the courthouse, and so they make everybody take off their belts these days to check for that belt buckle knife thing, and just commensurate with that, you can't even.
Well, it's interesting how they can always come up with a hypothetical that is so off the wall. It seems to me, it is just stunning to me that they, we had the shoe bomber, for instance.
Yeah.
Okay, now everybody has to take off their shoes. Everybody.
I mean, that is to me unfreaking believable because. And that's exactly the same thing. They make us all take off our belts at the courthouse, and so there's just always a bunch of guys looping their belts back on right near the front of the it's so weird, and your shoes and all that kind of stuff. It's so weird, but oh well.
Yeah, don't you feel safer now?
Yeah, no,
not hardly. That's just. No, that's interesting and uninteresting. I mean, so anyway, that's pretty much what I had for today.
Yeah, well, you got the one that I had, which was the Samantha Bee one.
Yeah,
I did want to talk about the trade wars a little bit, and one thing I want to mention for next time maybe is the Brazil trucker strike.
Ooh, yeah,
yeah, but
now, is that still on?
I don't know. But if it is, maybe we'll talk about that next time. But
yeah, because that's going to bring that country to a standstill.
Well, it certainly is not, it doesn't seem like a great situation down there.
Well, it's interesting because it's the largest country in South America, which is kind of interesting. It's the only one that doesn't speak Spanish.
Yeah,
Portuguese.
Their economy is big.
It is really huge, yeah. But it's interesting. They're near bankruptcy, though, in some instances. I can't
Yeah.
tell whether they're up or down from one day to the next. When
Yeah.
you read about this stuff.
Well, we'll look into it. Well, hopefully this went out live streaming. We'll see. We'll double check. If it didn't, we'll post it soon. If you want to comment, please do. Please come back and see us anytime. You can email us, message us, all that kind of stuff, and we'll be back around.
Yeah, probably on Wednesday again.
Yes.
Okay.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock on
We're doing pretty good with 4 o'clock. So.
Yeah. It gives me time to get the news off the thing.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, until next time.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.